She holds a degree of MBA in International Business, and after a decade of corporate experience in different fields of media, travel, took a decision of becoming an entrepreneur and is now building three lines of businesses into the fields of tourism marketing, e-commerce, and coaching. She's a dreamer and believes that reaching the sky is just the beginning. She started her ventures 5 years ago with vision to pursue her bigger calling and to make a difference in people's lives. She also believes in giving back to the society, and one of her long-term goals is also to extensively help the underprivileged children and work towards women empowerment through her ventures and through different NGOs. And since this mission closely aligns with what we're trying to do through our NGO, Drishtikona Changing Perspectives, we have the honor and the pleasure of having Selena with us. So, welcome once again. How are you feeling?
Oh wow, I am super excited. Thank you so much for the long introduction. And it's an absolute honor to be here. To be honest, I mean, it's you are an inspiration by yourself. I get really inspired by you too. So I think so. It's a beautiful moment to share with you. And thank you. This is an honor. This is a privilege to be here, for giving me this platform, for allowing me to share my voice, and be able to reach more people. So it's such an honor, my dear. Thank you so much, and thank you for making me the first speaker, the opening speaker, I would say, right, for your guest series. So it's such an honor. Thanks.
Well, it's our honor to have you here, and let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into the session. So, the first question that I have for you is about your entrepreneurship journey. I find your entrepreneurial spirit very, very inspiring. So, what motivated you to begin this journey at a very young age?
Okay, great question. I'm glad that you're saying young age, so I'll say I'm young. But you know
Of
what?
course, you are.
But to be honest, the entrepreneurship journey never came very natural to me. A lot of people think that I was born entrepreneur or something, but this is absolutely not true. And I did my MBA degree with a dream to start something one fine day. But I come from a very service-oriented background. My family members were all in government service, so very naturally, what came to me was to do service. So I got into jobs. So that's how I had 10 long career in corporate world. And and that was entrepreneurship was always a distant dream. And I did enjoy my job a lot. My corporate world was very very exciting. I worked with the best clients. I traveled the world, met great people around. Lot of learnings. But the thing is that after 10 years, I think somewhere I hit a roadblock. I hit like a glass ceiling somewhere. And then and then I felt trapped, and I felt like, oh, I have more potential than this. Maybe I should explore more and things like that. At the same time, I was also very tired with the corporate world, the 9 to 5 rut that you have, bosses complain, the targets, the meetings. And I was like, no, I need to have a chill life. So with that mindset, I actually started, I got into the line of entrepreneurship. Funny enough, now when I think back, I realize that these are not the good reasons to be entrepreneur, because because my initial years of business was very, very tricky, very tough, very challenging, very stressful. I felt like whatever I was running away from, it just 10x it. Irony is that. And then but I was very fortunate that on the way I met some very successful entrepreneurs on the way, and I realized that something was wrong in me. It was not the skill, it was not the knowledge, it was my mindset. I was running my business with a job mindset. I was very used to this monthly paycheck, so I was like frustrated when the money was not coming. I had to reinvest a lot in my business. I'm like, where is my money going? So, all that thing was, so I'm very lucky that I met certain people on the way and who really guided me, mentored me. And I think they inspired me a lot to give forward to other people as well. And I think that's what inspired me to be a coach. And today, my motivation, to be honest, is very different. Like, I started with a very different motivation to have a chill life. Now, my motivation is about solving problems. And this is what real entrepreneurship is. People don't understand. It's not about just starting a business, making quick money. It's about actually understanding what the world is facing, what problems you can face. So the bigger the problem, the more excited, the more motivated I get. So yeah, so that's my motivation. That's what keeps me inspired, I think.
Wow, that's quite a journey, from where you started, the motivation you had then to what you've learned over the years and what motivates you today. Completely different almost in terms of the motivation.
It's a
That's quite
360
a
turn.
journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so uh, moving on to my second question.
Sure.
So I have seen, I think, all your viewers have seen so many videos from you on social media, which are about financial investments. You've also conducted many, many workshops on the topic on how to achieve financial independence and what it really means. So we at Drishtikona, we are very passionate about enabling women and young girls to become financially independent. So, in that regard, I think, we would be very lucky to learn from you. So, how did you discover financial investments and how did you go about it? What made you think that this is a risk worth taking?
Okay. Wow, great question. First of all, thank you so much, people at Drishtikona who's doing this, who's supporting women, empowering them on a daily basis. So I think I'm very very proud of you for that. And you're right. This topic is I'm extremely passionate about this topic is because first of all, before I dive into what my journey was, I really want to talk about the concept of financial freedom, which I think or financial independence, which I think a lot of people get confused about. So the mindset of financial independence, number one, is not just about making $1 million, becoming a millionaire, or having big cars or fancy houses and things like that. It's more about independence, by the name by itself. So it's about liberating yourself from the day to day. I feel the mundane decisions that we have, like how to pay rent, what about child education, medical expenses coming in, things like that. So you're liberating yourself from those mundane things. You're empowering them. You're rising above that day-to-day problems that we all face. It's financial independence to me. The way I see it, it's about having multiple choices in life. It's a choice of time. It's a choice of money. Like I want to work because I feel like working today. It's not because I need to work. I need to pay my rent you know so that I think that is very empowering by itself. And the reason why I want everyone to be financially independent is because we today, people, 90% of people are living, or maybe more than 90, I feel we're living in a world on a survival mode, is what I feel. Just paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. It's a survival mode. And when you as a human being is in a survival mode, you can't be in a growth mode. And I want people to be in a growth mode, getting above all these things. And that's where I think you really start to discover what the life's purpose is. And I feel today, today I feel like my life's purpose is to become the best version of myself, and to help other people become their best version. So that is, I think, what is important. So this is why I like to promote it. But you know what? This awareness I didn't have for the longest time. I was just like the other 95% of people doing the regular mundane things. But one point, when I got so obsessed about personal growth, I think this is one topic that I really had to deal with. And honestly, growing up, I did not have that abundance, to be honest. I had a very scarcity mindset, a fear of money. Why? Because growing up, I always saw my parents bickering and fighting about money. So I felt like money is an issue, root cause of all problems. Money khatam ho jayega, money will finish. Money is so scarce. Money doesn't grow on trees, so you shouldn't spend. You should always save. So I was always afraid of this topic. I didn't want to face my fears. But I had to over a period of time, because if I had to become a person that I wanted to become, I had to. So then over the period of time, I took up mentors, I did physical workshops, online courses. I mean, whoever was a financial guru that I could see, I was in his program or her program. And I really wanted to upgrade my skill. So this is how my journey began. And one thing that I really want to share with the viewers today is that there are three things about money that one must learn. And they're very simple mindsets, but very important to learn. First mindset is how to earn money. Okay, and I think majority of people know how to earn money, whether it's a job or a business. When you start something, you earn money. But the next two things that I want to talk about very quickly is, which people don't realize, is the second part of money is very important, which is how to keep money. People learn how to earn money, but then they don't know how to keep money. And what do I mean by that? I simply mean that, if you're getting a paycheck of 10,000 or 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees, the first thing people tend to do is go and buy liabilities.
Mm.
And everything
Yeah.
around us is a liability today, whether it's your expensive phone or your car or your house and things like that. And I think, and I don't blame the people, because we've been societally conditioned that way. Even our chartered accountants come and say that, your house is an asset, your car is an asset. But really, when you think about it, when I actually had to really deep dive into it and to understand, is it really an asset? Because an asset is something that puts money back in your pocket, you know, and not take money out of your pocket. But whereas these things like your phone or your cars, they're all taking money out of your pocket. So these kind of awareness, this kind of financial awareness, you do your MBA, you do whatever management you want to do, financial management, no one really teaches you these concepts. So I really wanted to tell people, okay, you need to learn how to keep money so that you can go to the third step, which is how to grow money, you know, which, there's a very famous dialogue, right? Paise se paise banta hai and all that. So, if you have them, so you're able to keep money, need to know how to grow money. So, which means investments, the right kind of investments. And people don't even have enough knowledge about investments. I mean, all we know is, okay, put money in your savings account, put money in fixed deposit and things like that. But there is nothing beyond that. There's no financial education beyond that, which is taught to us in our schools and colleges or higher degrees also. So I think these three things I really want to highlight, and I want to tell you that this is my journey, and I really want people to be aware of that as well.
That's very, very interesting. And it's such a it's such a complicated topic to many people who have no idea about it, who just think that putting money into something is like drowning your money, and they are very, very scared. I think, thank you also for sharing so openly what your journey has been like, because, to come on a platform, any kind of public platform, and to actually share about, your life, and especially, I think something which people would be like very shy to talk about. I think you've done that so openly. So thank you very much for your vulnerability, for the immense strength that you've shown to us today. And I think this is also one of the topics in which people would be interested to learn more. So, if our viewers are so interested, I think we can have a separate session entirely on this topic, because it is so interesting and there is so much to learn here.
Yeah. I totally agree with it, because because money is a very mindset game. People think money is all about numbers, but it's actually a mindset game. So money mindset is something people need to know about, because it is very deep rooted in your belief system of what you think about money. And nobody talks about this enough. So I'm happy to do another session if you would like to do that.
Thank you. So, something which is also, I think, connected with the first two questions is it's about the spirit of resilience, right? It's about the spirit of rising back. So, I think that connects very well with the pandemic that we had. Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey during the pandemic. And I know, because I was in Dharamshala, that you created a brand that was extremely successful and useful. During so much of chaos, you created something, you were involved in something that added so much value to people's life, and it became something profitable, something which most people were turning to during those times. So how did you manage the sudden change that COVID-19 brought into our lives, and what was your take as an entrepreneur? How did you go with the flow and shift to doing what you did during the pandemic?
Wow. This question has so many parts. So, yes, so COVID-19 by itself was such an interesting journey for all of us, isn't it? I mean, very challenging in our own ways, in different ways. Thankfully, health-wise, I think my touch with my parents were fine, my family members were fine, but it was a serious hit to the business world. And my first business, like I spoke about, was in the tourism marketing. And the worst industry, one of the worst industries hit by pandemic was tourism. All the borders shutting down. So my business literally went from a seven figure to zero overnight, like literally. And that was such a, it just threw me for a while, because human beings, right? We're human, we have emotions. So it just literally threw me off. And but not to brag or anything, but I've trained myself over the years. So I don't allow myself to stay in that victim mode for a long time. So, what really happened is, before I tell you about my journey, I also want to give a very quick fact about how a human mind really works. And I want to talk about a human emotion, because we are all human beings. We have emotions, and we're all driven by emotions. And our emotions are driven by the thoughts that we have on a daily basis, right? Whatever we're thinking, negative, positive, things like that. But where does this thought really come from? It comes from the focus that we're trying to do. What are we focusing on a daily basis? That is super, super important. For example, let's say if the glass is half full, there's a half water. Some people will say it's half full, some will say it's half empty. And the person who's saying half full is going to feel abundant and is going to feel safe. But this person who's saying, no, my glass is half empty, is going to feel scarce, is going to feel like a sense of lack. So your focus, whatever you're focusing in, your thoughts will follow. And then whatever your thoughts will follow, your emotions will follow. So what I did at that point of time, when I literally, my business went zero, I felt so unstable at that point of time. But I just turned myself and I said, okay, what do I need to focus on? And I consciously decided to focus on gratitude. Okay. I was like, okay, I still have my loved ones. My parents are safe. I still have roof on my head, food on my table. I still have a healthy body. Like, these were the things I was so grateful for. I consciously diverted my so that I can increase my sense of vibration, my state of mind. I can be in a high state of mind again. So from there, it was essential for me to build again. So the next thing that I consciously wanted to do is focus. Again, I'm talking about focus. Focus on what is it that I can still control. I know pandemic was not in our control. But what is it? There's some things which are still in my control. So I was like, what is in my control? So when I started to figure this out, at that point of time, I had completed my formal training on life coaching. And but I never had the time to really go out and be that coach that I wanted to be. So I was taking it very slow because I was very busy. And because pandemic gave me so much of free time, I was like, okay, let me now explore and be the coach I want to be. So I really opened, I went all out, and then all of a sudden the coaching business went really up. And also because people were stressed and things like that, and people really were reaching out to me. So that really happened as a miracle. So one door closes, other door opens maybe. And the third thing that you're talking about, the Dharamshala thing, was, in the midst of the lockdown, where people were struggling to get the daily necessities, and when people were so afraid to step out and venture out, we thought, okay, how can we solve the problem? So we came up with this online grocery delivery service at that point of time, which it's been 2 years. The journey has been phenomenal, amazing. But it's all about solving people's problem, and I love doing that. And that's what motivates me, like I said, the real entrepreneurship. So yeah, so more or less that has been my journey.
And I'm somebody who has personally seen the kind of value that your coaching as well as 24 Breeze has added to people's lives. So once again, thank you for, solving people's problems in such an efficient manner, because that was when I first heard about 24 Breeze. I saw a ad, I think a poster of it somewhere on the walls of CTA, and I thought this is such a brilliant idea. Who thought of it? That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
And I must give full credit to my partner, Tenzing Ragan, and who has been so on it. Like, I have been more the back end support and a mentor, but he has been on the field doing the work. I mean, it's this business has taught me so much, which I think none of the other businesses have taught me. Well, everyone has, I shouldn't really compare. But this business has really made us put our hand dirty and really be on the ground to help people. And I think that was something which I think has made us become a bigger person as well. Yeah.
so thank you also to Ravyangla, and hello to him. Yes, I think just joined us, I see.
Yeah. We just joined in.
Another thing that we spoke about, which really resonated with me, was the power of gratitude, because that is something that I have been repeating again and again in many of my sessions, whether, as a psychology professional or somebody who has just, being in a mentorship position. And even as a teacher, when I used to teach in low income schools, I think this is something that I've always focused on. And this is something that I see especially in value-based education or any time that we mention anything related to how we can create a better mindset for ourselves, I think gratitude is very, very important. And you've mentioned that. And I think it's also something that helps you be productive. And I would also ask you, as an extension to that, what is your secret to remaining productive and how do you stay so positive? And do you feel that sometimes it becomes difficult to balance that? Like if you're being too positive, is it that you're ignoring certain realities? And we live in this era where there is a lot of fake positivity given by social media sometimes where it almost feels like ignore all your problems, just live in this dreamland. And is that really what positivity is? Also, another part of that question would be like, is there any spiritual practice that you follow that helps you remain productive on a daily basis?
Shivangi has bomb questions, multiple questions packed in one, right? And I have to decipher it now. Thank you for the challenge. Okay, great question. So, talking about entrepreneurship journey, right? How do you think? How do I keep myself positive and productive and things like that? Whether it's easy or not, it's absolutely not easy. Okay, let's face it. This is the truth. Nobody is born positive, nobody is born enthusiastic and being, like from the day one, like, hey, I mean, this doesn't last for long. Motivation doesn't really last. Discipline lasts, consistency lasts. What a lot of people don't realize about entrepreneurship is it's a hard journey. It's a really hard journey. It's a challenging journey, and it's a very lonely journey because most of the time you're struggling by yourself. You're making decisions by yourself. Uh, Everything is so, it does make you lonely at times. So it's, and whenever I'm coaching people, I tell people, when who are entrepreneurs, I tell people, I say business is an extension of you. Okay, business is an extension of you. So which means you as an entrepreneur needs to really invest in your own personal growth. And when I say personal growth, I'm talking about not just about having the skills and knowledge, but the right mindset, and the emotional intelligence, which people don't talk enough again. Emotional intelligence is so important. How to really manage your emotions, because life will throw so many things, especially in entrepreneurship. People just things will hit your face left, right, center, and if you don't know how to stay centered and calm and things like that, it's going to be very difficult for you to survive in this journey. Like, forget the growing of the business. You can't even survive. Like, a lot of people quit, and that's like majority, 95% of businesses shut down. They quit, they go back to jobs and things like that. It's one of the major reason is that. So it's absolutely not easy, and I think that's why personal growth is so important. And like you said, like you asked, like I do have certain practices that I keep doing on a daily basis that is non-negotiable for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the same person that I am today, to be honest. So there are three things that I really, really want to keep in mind, and I try to follow at least in a day. One is my morning ritual. Okay, when I wake up in the morning, before I start my day, start my work, social media, whatever I start, I have to do my morning ritual. And my morning ritual simply means that, I am by myself and I'm giving time to myself. And there's certain things that I practice in my morning ritual, things like gratitude, things like meditation, things like prayers, which is very powerful to me, and journal writing and things like that. So I really have to, at least I give myself 45 minutes to 1 hour just to myself before I start anything else. And I also like to watch inspiration videos. I like to learn something new. I like to read something new. And today morning, I almost forgot about the interview at that point of time because I was so busy learning about something, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot what time it was. And so this is like a non-negotiable thing which keeps me, going for the day, gives me that strength, that courage, that sanity to do what I want to do, right? So that's super, super important, non-negotiable. And I tell everyone, you should have a morning routine. You shouldn't just get up from your day and just start running for your work and things like that. You have to have your morning routine. If you can incorporate exercise in between, that's also really, really beneficial. Second thing that is super important to me is learning, constant learning, and I said that. So I'm always upgrading my skills, knowledge, mindset. I'm always having mentorships. I'm always taking up coaching. I'm always doing online programs, physical workshops, whatever I get to do. I'm always there to upgrade myself. Like, this is super important, not just in the world of entrepreneurship. Of course, it is in entrepreneurship, but even in life in general. If you have to, even if you're in a job and you're climbing the corporate career, you have to be ahead of everything, everyone else. So that personal growth aspect is important, knowledge aspect and skill aspect is very important. And the third thing, which is super crucial for me, and I tell this to everyone in my coaching as well, is uh, ensuring that you are with the right kind of people. The the people around you is so important, because I don't know if you've heard this. Mr. Jim Rohn had this very famous quote that you are an average of 5 people around you,
Mm-hmm.
and they really influence you. Your thought process, your behaviors, your conditions. They really, really influence you, whether you know it or not, whether you accept it or not. They do influence you. So I'm very, very conscious of who am I interacting on a daily basis, who am I hanging out on a daily basis. So these three things are something which keeps me productive, which keeps me in a right state of mind, right frame of mind, so that I can do what I need to do and face all the challenges like a rock star.
I
Yeah.
think that is quite, quite the rock star way to start your day. And I think in a very positive way, I'm saying that because, of course, there are certain negative examples of that also, but like in the most positive, most illuminated manner. And there is so much to learn from what you just said, so much wisdom in those few minutes that you've been talking. I think every word, every line that you're saying, it sounds like a quote, like somebody has put up a quote somewhere, it's like that. Something very interesting that you said, of course, everything you said is interesting, but something that stood out to me a lot was when you said that motivation doesn't last, discipline does. And I think that is so interesting because people feel that completely, at least in the beginning of their entrepreneurship journey, it's like they're just fueled by motivation, pure motivation. And then if you're not backing that up with discipline, then I think that sort of, somewhere you start losing the plot there. And of course, daily practices are very, very important. I liked when you said that you were so into it that you forgot what time it was, you forgot about our interaction today. And that is what, I think we call being in the state of flow, when you are so absorbed in what you're doing, when you're finding such value in it, that the rest of the world, or it just becomes noise. You tune out of it. And I think that is when the best learning happens, and that is what eventually makes you most productive. So thank you so much for sharing that. And my next question to you would be, how has your identity as a Tibetan Buddhist, growing up in Delhi, which is like the heartland of India, shaped your life? And how did you think that, the impressions of the life that you saw there, and then growing up, the experiences that you had, and how people would sometimes, confuse you with, I think, other people from Northeast India, or like other, when you travel outside of India, maybe they confuse you with like, I don't know how many people they must have confused you with. So how has this unique identity been a part of your life?
Um, Interesting question. So yeah, so that's I think India is such a diverse area, right? So we have these 7 states plus the eight, I mean 8 states now. Sikkim being, as of, I'm half Sikkimese and half Tibetan. So my mother's side I'm Tibetan, my father's side I'm Sikkimese. So growing up in Delhi, I actually was born and brought up in Delhi, and my entire childhood, education, everything was Delhi, 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 Delhi. Not even so much Sikkim, because Sikkim was just more like a summer holiday and things like that. And I was absolutely, I had zero connection with the Tibetan community as well. Like I didn't even know where they existed, to be honest. So my entire childhood, I've been, I think, conditioned in the Delhi environment. And what I really want to highlight is Delhi environment is very competitive, and people want to excel all the time. People are very hardworking, extremely ambitious. You have to prove yourself, whether it's in school, college, everything is like high cutoff marks. Then you have to always prove yourself. So I think I grew up with that conditioning of a high achiever, because if you don't win, you're nothing. And this was my conditioning. And and then I think So what happened is, like, while I was growing up, I got very curious about, as in, as in the mature adult, when I became an adult and a little more mature adult, as an adult, I felt like there has to be more meaning to life, right? And I started to dig my roots. And I got started to get very interested in the meaning of life, the purpose of life. And then that's where I actually dived into Buddhism as a subject. As a subject and not a religion, I meant to say. Because religion, I anyways am a Buddhist by religion. I follow all the practices and the rituals. My parents do that as well. But nobody really, I never dived into the meaning, the core meaning of what Buddhism has to offer. And when I got interested in that aspect, I started to study as a subject. And I also got interested in knowing my own community, and that's when I started to find my community. And I was like, where is my community? Where is my community? That's how I landed in Dharamsala, to be honest. And this was, and I'm sorry, I got distracted. So this was so interesting for me, because then that's how I started to learn my culture, my language. I still struggle with the language so much, but so Buddhism, being in Tibetan community, has taught me so much more about being compassionate, about kindness. Uh, I've always been a high achiever. I was very much. I have a lot of anxiety issues. I'm a person who has so much. I deal with anxieties a lot, and that's how I also got interested in the meaning of life, purpose of life, because I really wanted to work on emotions. And Buddhism as a subject has also taught me how human mind works, how emotions work. Because Buddhism, a lot of people get confused. They think it's a religion, but it's really a way of life. It teaches you how you can have a better life, how you can have better relationship, better health, etc., etc. So I think I'm a very nice combination of being a person who's of wants to be successful, a person who believes in high productivity, in performance, high performance, but also combine it with the true nature of a human person. What gives us happiness, what drives us, and makes us a happy person. I think that's what I really enjoy, and I think that's what makes me today as a person. And secondly, to the other point that you were saying, that people confusing me with other parts of the state and things like that, I'm so chill about it. Like, it doesn't even matter to me. Like, I'm really, really chill about it. People can say whatever they want. It just doesn't affect me. It used to in the past, but now it doesn't affect me anymore. And I'm like, yeah, because the poor guys, they don't know. They're just unaware. So I have empathy for them, is what I have to say.
Spoken like a true Buddhist follower. I have empathy for them. So I just, when you were talking, I was just reminded of the very first time that I met you in Dharamshala. Even though we met very briefly for just 5 minutes, I was like, wow, this girl is completely like a Delhi girl. That is the first impression that I got. And then I asked your neighbor, I asked Setula, and then she told me about you. And I said, wow. And I remember you telling me that, girl, my Tibetan is as good as yours.
You're right.
Interaction, it's like clearly etched in my mind for some reason, because I think you really stood out to me. You were not like, I think, anybody I had interacted with in Dharamshala within the Tibetan community. I was wondering how she's different.
Yeah, got me out.
And I'm also reminded of, the other thing that you said, that you're actually very chill about it. And I can, stand as a testimony to that fact, because I remember when me, you, Sakina, Ram, we were there in that camping trip, and this two elderly Indian women, they approached us and they asked you, are you from Nagaland? And you said no. And he said, are you sure? That bothered me a lot, because I thought, what is this? How can you ask somebody, are you sure where you're from? But it didn't bother you. You were very chill about it. And I was like, wow, how is it? If somebody said that to me, I would probably be a little bit bothered. But you've really mastered that art of, how to have empathy for people, and how to think about it from their perspective. It's just that they're unaware. And it's not like they mean any harm or they're being insulting or negative. It's just that they don't know any better.
That's true. Yeah. And empathy, I think, just to add on to that, empathy is for yourself as well. Forgiveness, empathy. We just think you're just being weak and you're being nice to the other person. But that is actually your superpower, because when you are empathetic to the other person and you are not upset about something which can be very trivial at times, it gives you your sanity, your peace of mind is important, right? So it gives me that empathy, gives me that peace of mind. So I would choose today peace of mind over anything. Take my $1 million, just giving me my peace of mind. Oh
That's a
yeah.
very brilliant perspective, to take. Shifting to something which is kind of like a mood uplifter and something which is very interesting to a lot of our audience, especially the younger audience. Travel. You have traveled extensively within and outside of India. Um, how have you come to view the importance of travel in life? What have your experiences been in the field of tourism marketing? You have created this niche for yourself where you take it as a professional opportunity. Travel for you is not just for fun; it's also something that adds value to your professional life. And how does it also impact your personal life? And what were some of your interesting experiences or something that you learned outside of India that you thought, wow, this is, something that is not really present in, say, Asian context or the Indian context?
Um, Again, a bomb question. So, I was just thinking before pandemic hit us, I was a person on the move constantly. So I think about 6 months, six out of 12 months, 6 months I would actually be on the move. I've been traveling everywhere, mostly on work, very hardly on holidays, to be honest. So, but I love traveling on travel, whether it's work or anything. So I'm very, very fortunate that I have had this opportunity, that I was able to build a profession around it. And travel is very, very special to me. I encourage everyone to travel because travel has been an eye opener for me. So I've been traveling since I was 22, 23, I think, extensively. And then I have, when I, I've met people from across the world, not just in India, but, they talk about America, Europe, Africa, Latin America, and people from all kind of color, caste, creed, culture, community, whatever you can think about. And one thing that I learned over the time is there were a lot of myths. There are a lot of myths and preconceptions that we tend to hold for people around the world. Like Americans are like that, Europeans are like that, Africans are like that. So a lot of myths started to break on the way. And I think we have these preconceived notions only also because we watch a lot of television and thanks to movies.
Mhm.
And I think that has been an eye opener. And one thing which I really, really found common from from everyone around the world, is the fact that we all have, inside we're all same. The human nature is all the same. Okay, things like we want happiness, we all want happiness, nobody wants suffering, we all want to be successful in life, we all want joy, kindness, compassion, nobody wants to be sick, we all want to be healthy. So this is something that I realize that each one of, no matter how you look, how you behave, whatever background, language, color you speak, it's like this was so common to me. And one fine day when it hit me, and I realized that we're all the same. We're like Isolina says, we're 7 billion people. We're all the same, and I did feel that emotion very strongly. And after that, I started to connect with people on a very deep human, personal level. Whoever I meet with today, and I think how it has helped me professionally also is because I don't get professionally, I don't get intimidated by people around the world anymore. Because I know even if people in higher positions, whether it could be prime minister, president, or the world leader, whoever that person is, I don't get intimidated anymore, which I used to in the past. Because I'm such a high achiever and I want to be the best all the time. But now I'm like, we're all the same because we all have the same aspirations. And I don't, and I'm definitely not condescending to people who have lesser than me, who are underprivileged. So I am definitely more aware, and I think travel has really broken those barriers for me to understand people on a human level, understanding that they're just like me. And that has been a really game changer. That's why I feel like you people should travel. You should meet more people, get more perspectives in place, because you would realize that whatever you think in your head, most of the time is not true. And when you meet them, you would realize, okay, this is what is true. This is what the reality is. So that is, I hope that answers your question.
I think, yeah, they aspect of stereotyping and how people are actually typecasted in movies and TV shows. I
Yeah,
think it's very dangerous also because it's perpetuating those myths. When you actually meet people, when you travel, those myths break. For example, even if I talk about people within India, like you said, there's so much diversity. So people have all these myths about, people from different cultures and, different parts of India. When they travel, when they meet those people, when they have the opportunity to actually spend some time with them, is when those barriers actually break. And when,
yeah.
there's real human connection, I would say.
Yeah. You know, it's a funny fact that I want to share with you, which remind when we talk about myth and everything. I had two misconceptions about American people. Okay, thanks from the movies. Misconception number one was that I felt like they were very independent people. They want to be single all their lives. They don't want a family life and things like that. Big misconception. Americans are big time family people. They love families. They would do things with their families. Even Indians wouldn't do sometimes. Like that's a huge misconception which I realized I had. And the second thing was also the fact that Americans are very open minded. Open minded in the sense that they're very the culture, they're very loose. They have a loose culture. We see in movies the way they dress up. They're not. They have a loose culture. They're not very modest, and that is again not true at all. Majority of people are not like that. They're very modest people. They're very respectful. They have a very strong culture of their own. So I think this is what happened when I landed to that country, and I'm like, okay, whatever I knew was wrong. Good to know.
You worked with Disney and you've been to Disneyland outside of India. What was
Oh
that?
yeah. So Disney, I'm very fortunate. Disney has been one of my clients for years now. So Hong Kong Disney, Florida Disney. So yeah, I get the. I don't want to brag here, but get the first class preferential treatment when I go to Disney. I'm like very spoiled now. Yeah. So Disney has been my client, so that's why I have the privilege to be all those places.
And this field of tourism marketing, not a lot of people know about it. So if you can, give us some insight into what that is, how did you start into this career?
Okay, so I think I am. I got into it by accident, to be honest. My journey was so I when I finished my MBA degree, my first company, the job that I got into was into an education industry. I really did enjoy that. So I moved into media and lifestyle industry. It looked very glamorous. It was extremely stressful. Didn't really enjoy that. And while I was in the media industry, I came to Disney was doing a show in India that time, a road show, an event basically, and I happened to be part of that event. And I didn't know what this industry was about. This industry is extremely small, very small, like very tiny, honestly. And when I was part of this event, I was like, I saw for the Disney for the first time, and in my head, I was, whatever you focus on, it grows. So I don't know, I became obsessed with Disney at that point of time, and I was like, I need to work for this company. And then after that, I think all I did was to figure out how can I really work with these people. But I got lucky. There was a break. There was a job opportunity at that point of time. So I interviewed for it. I was lucky that I got it. Uh, User marketing basically simply means it's a that you're marketing a certain destination, tourism destination. It could be a destination, it could be attraction like Disney, it could be hotels, it could be airline, anything that's related to travel and tourism. You're basically being a marketing person for them. You're ensuring that you're marketing that product. You make sure that sales are happening for that product and things like that. So that is what user marketing is. Very small field, like I said, very niche, but extremely profitable and a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much because, actually, even I didn't know about this field and I got to know it through you. So I thought that this would be something very interesting to our viewers. And, the fact that you were so determined that, okay, I want to work with this brand and you approached them, you went ahead, that shows great deal of confidence more than anything else because, people hear a big brand name and they just feel intimidated. Even if they want to work with them, it's like there is a sense of David and Goliath. Like, oh, this is too big for me, and why would they approach me? And blah blah blah. All these self doubt come to people's minds. So
Right.
great that through your positive mindset, through your daily discipline routine. you were able to overcome and actually go for your dream, and then you actually reap those rewards of your hard work. That's an inspirational story right there.
Yes, this actually reminds me of a quote which says, self doubt kills more dreams than failure would ever will. So, and one of the reasons why I love being a coach is because I help people come out of the self doubt. Because the self doubt is nothing but a perspective that you have about yourself, the self belief, the belief that you have about yourself. And that can easily be changed over a period of time. Not overnight, but over a period of time, that can easily be changed. You can reprogram your mind, you can reprogram your the thought process, and which will help you build your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and things like all these terminologies. So this is something that people should really work on, because dreams are possible. I have to I want to tell people that dreams are possible. If you're dreaming about something, if the dreams are coming to you, it's because you are capable for it. You're meant for it. But you have to evolve into a certain person, certain kind of, you have to evolve so that that success comes to you, so that you become a person that can handle that kind of success. So that includes personal growth again. So everything, I think, boils down to personal growth, isn't it?
Now coming to a fun question. You were featured in the Bollywood film Tamasha. I know you don't want to talk about it, but just to pique our curiosity, we would do that. And yes, it was a stint, it was a small part, but still, I find it very fascinating that you had this experience. You actually shot the costume, makeup here, and you had to wait for a long time. You got to interact with both Ranbir Kapoor and Deepika. You met and worked with Imtiaz Ali. So, what was that experience like?
Well, that experience was phenomenal. Okay, you just highlighted that part because I am not an actor. I don't even have a theoretical background. I don't even know how I landed there, honestly. It was just like a lucky shot at that point of time. One of my acquaintance reached out to me and said, "We have a certain role. I think you could be good for it. Do you want to audition?" And I said, "Really? Me?" And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, let me see. Like, I really had no expectation. I'm like, why would they even take me? Right. So, like, I just auditioned for it. Like, I just did what I wanted to, did what I felt like doing. And then it was just a lucky thing. Like, I got selected, which was very surprising. And yeah, the shoot was very interesting. I shared a personal space, which is, I'm so proud of that. It's like a dream come true, little girl's dream come true. So Ranbir and Deepika, I shared a personal space with them for up to, I think, 4 hours. We were together in the same room. So Deepika and I got very chatty. She's a very bubbly person. She's really, really sweet. Ranveer, on the other hand, is just the opposite. He's quite reserved, but he's very respectful. He's like a total gentleman. And I wasn't. This was another myth that broke that day, because I used to think, like, these film stars they have this very high ego, and they would be like total show off and stuff like that. But it was just not the case. They were like really like human beings, just like us, and so I could connect with them very well. Did lines with Imtiaz Ali, sir. Now you should address him as sir, because he was, I mean, there was like, I was on a high. I still am on a high when I talk about it, I think. But yeah. I think that was my first and my last opportunity, though. Nothing else has come my way.
I hope now, through this, we reach out to more people and you get more opportunities.
Yeah, I hope so. Finger crossed.
That would be wonderful. In our next interaction, we'll talk about the next Bollywood movie you feature in.
I wish.
So, this has been one of the best things that I've done in a very, very long time. And I feel like, I should have started with these guest speaker sessions much earlier. As we come to, conclusion of our, session today, I want to know that what message do you have to youngsters everywhere, especially the young women watching this? And, although you have shared so much wisdom with us, like what is that one or few pearls of wisdom?
Few pearls of wisdom. I do have few pearls of wisdom, to be honest. And I just don't have one message. I have few messages, and I hope that it's okay. So especially for the ladies out there who are watching now and who are going to be watching, I think that I've already addressed the point of financial independence. So you've got to be financially independent, because this is, don't be dependent on anybody, because being independent is very liberating, and it will make you, allow you to become the person you want to become. That definitely is one. Second, like I said, also is like working on your self-worth. That is so important, uh, and also, the fact that, I think we've all grown up with certain conventional definitions and images of how a woman should be, how a girl should be, how a mother, daughter, wife should behave, and things like that. I really want women to now break from those barriers and try and figure out who you are as a person. Be your authentic self is what I want to, really encourage women to do that. Don't keep yourself in those boundaries, in that boxes. Don't try to fit yourself there, because what is more important is your happiness, your growth. Because if you are happy, then only you can keep other people happy, is what I believe totally. So that's my second message. uh Third thing that I really want to encourage women is to dream big, right? And this, nobody speaks this enough. Again, I feel you have to, you have no idea how much potential is within you, how much it's just layered, it's just covered by different of our, maybe limiting beliefs or insecurities or fears. It's just covered by all these layers, but otherwise you have so much of potential inside of you, and you have no idea what limits you can go. So dream big, work on yourself and dream big. That's very, very important for me. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is supporting other women. I think this is something which is so necessary. I mean, men, as feminists, we don't really need men to support us. If we can only support each other, we can help each other grow. I think that's going to be phenomenal. So I want, women to, stop judging other women, stop gossiping about other women or people in general, and, start empowering each other. So that's I think very strong message that I want to point out. And I'm there for you, Shwang, you know that, right? So being as a sister to sister, I think that's super powerful. And last but not the least, I definitely want them to upgrade their skills knowledge, like be at constant learning. People think कि school finish ho gaya, college ho gaya, higher degree ho gaya, and then there's nothing else. Okay, my learning is finished. But learning is never end. No matter what age you are in, you have to constantly learn. You should learn. So that growth is super, super important. And yeah, because you have to, like I said, external success comes to you when you become the person that deserves and can handle that success. And I just want to throw it out there that, if anyone is, wants to level up in their life, I'm there. That's what I do, right? So I'm happy to give them a free session. If anyone wants to go to them, you can go to my website and ask request for a free session. Just want to throw it there. So yeah, so that's what I think, 5 top messages for this session.
They are very good. I think, these are the kind of things that people should just always have ingrained in their minds. This is something that is so, so important. These are, I believe, in many ways, the framework of a very happy, productive life that you can, carry with yourself forever. And,
Yeah,
there are so many things that you mentioned, like how learning is a lifelong process, and we forget that.
yeah,
And idea that, or the idea of sisterhood, the idea of women supporting women, it's something that I live for. And I honestly dream of that society where we are free of those societal judgments and those shackles that bind us, unfortunately.
yeah,
So thank you for reinstating my hope. And for all the audience watching this, even if after the live, I'm going to convert this in a reel and it will always be on the Instagram channels. So for everyone watching this, I just want to say that Selena, she provides business and life coaching. And I've spoken to many of her clients and they have excellent reviews to give. So if you want to, learn more about how to be productive, how can you become the best version of yourself, I think you can contact her. It's a wonderful idea to do so. And, it's always a good idea to invest in yourself anywhere. So Thank you so much, Selena, for this session. And I'm very happy to report that we are ending it right on time. So we are being efficient in terms of time.
Yeah, I'm glad because I don't stop when I speak. Yeah,
No, but
sometimes.
everything you've said has been 100% useful to everybody watching this video, and it has been very precise information. And also, I think that we didn't get time to discuss more and talk about something like from one question something would emerge. And I really liked how we had this interaction for the first time, but I really enjoyed how we were, talking and bonding and how people were also connecting with that. And I think after we put it up on our channels and as a video, more people are going to watch. And then I'm sure that, a lot of people were inspired by your example today. You inspired a lot of girls for sure. So once again, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you so much to you, Shivangi, for organizing this. I really hope we can continue doing this session because I'm sure you and I, we have a lot to offer. And I think the contribution is key for both of us. And let's continue doing this. And I also want to thank everyone who has joined us today and who's putting these amazing comments online. And thank you so much. I really, really appreciate from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate. If there's anything I can do, I'm always a message away. So, shall we wrap this up?
And I also just want to thank everybody who has been connected with us throughout this session. And I've been seeing a lot of comments. Unfortunately, I've not been able to reply to them. But yeah, I'll do that later and I'll do that hopefully in a personal capacity. So shout out to all of our viewers, people who've been here with us today. So thank you so much. And yes, Sakina, we see you. We see you.
Yes, Sakina, you're there. Yay! Shout out to Sakina, but she was so excited. And by the way, she was the one to remind me, texting me at around 11 saying, "Are you ready? Like, are you excited?" And I'm like, "What time is it? What time is it?" She was the one to remind me that I have an interview coming up. Thanks, Sakina.
Chuki, hello, hi, you're here too. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
All right, so with that, wrap it up. And I hope that we will connect again in some sessions. And great to have you
Let's do
with us.
this. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Shani. Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.